So ever since the riot at the Capitol, I knew that when I saw the way that the media and the elite, the establishment, and the Democratic politicians were hyperventilating and creating mass hysteria and manufacturing consent for some type of broad crackdown on people who are considered domestic threats. From the minute I saw that, and then all this talk about a new domestic war on terror, from the minute I saw that, I knew that this was going to go beyond what happened at the Capitol. And it was going to be turned into a campaign to go after anybody who is anti-establishment, who is critical of the government, who's critical of politicians, and just our this corrupt political system in general. I knew that that's what was going to happen. I knew from when they started the censorship, when they started with just arbitrarily banning Donald Trump with no real solid justification. They can't say he incited violence because I looked at the tweets. I saw his speech. There, at no point in it did he say, go start a riot, go let's do some fucking violence. He never said that. So it was arbitrary to begin with, and they took him down because they just feel like, oh, it was close enough. Close enough. He might not have directly incited violence, but it was close enough. We feel like it was bad enough that it merits him to be taken down, so we're going to take him down. And they did that to the most powerful person on the planet at the time, the President of the United States. So when I saw that, and then I saw that they immediately turned and said, oh, now we're going to just start banning people who say post anything about QAnon or post anything about Stop the Steal. We're just going to start banning them, removing them from the internet, removing them from Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. We're just going to remove them from the internet with no real clear justification other than we're going to say that they're spreading harmful misinformation. When I saw that, I was like, good fucking God. This isn't going to stop because we've already been in this. There's been a wave of crackdown on people, regular people, and independent journalists and people in new media from back in 2016 or 2017 with this whole hysteria about fake news and all that stuff. So ever since then, there's been a widespread corporate censorship across the spectrum, the left and the right. And when I saw how they were going to use this, I was like, they're going to ramp this shit up and it's going to be worse than I've ever seen it. And that's exactly what happened. And when I was trying to warn people about this, warn people about what was coming, people thought, oh, I'm down here defending Donald Trump. I'm defending Trump supporters. That's not what it is. I'm defending the principle. I'm defending the fact that I don't think that random fucking billionaire executives, tech executives in Silicon Valley should be able to unilaterally decide, meet together in a back room like a fucking cabal in the dead of night and decide anybody who says this specific thing that we don't like, we're going to get them off the internet. I don't agree with that. And even if you don't agree with the Trump supporters, you don't agree with the Stop the Steal, you don't agree with the QAnon, if you don't agree with how Donald Trump handled the protest that led to the riot, even if you don't agree with all that stuff, you cannot just say it's close enough. I think it's bad, so I'm okay with random fucking executives deciding that this content is no longer allowed on the internet. Because when you do that, you're opening the door for them, or you're agreeing to the framework, the premise that it's okay for them to decide what's allowed to go on the internet and what's not. And even if you thought that those people were bad and you wanted them off the internet, and I vehemently disagree with that, and I'm gonna get to that whole mindset of among regular people that we should be censoring people and deleting them and getting them off the internet. I'm going to address that later on in the video. But even if that's what you believe, you have to understand it's not you who's making the decision of which content or what kind of content crosses the line. The people who ultimately make that decision at the end of the day are billionaire executives at Facebook and Google and Twitter and YouTube. They're the ones at the end of the day who make the decision over who gets to speak and who gets to be heard and who doesn't. So even if you don't like the Trump supporters, even if you don't want them on the internet, when you give those people the power to do it, and Glenn Greenwald makes this point all the time, okay, so now you're saying, I think in order to protect whoever you want to protect, minorities or whatever, you're saying all these guys, they're so racist and they're so bad, we need to protect minorities, so remove them from the internet. If that's what you think you're doing it to protect the powerless. Okay, you're giving the most powerful people, the establishment, the ability to decide who gets censored. And why on earth do you think these people who are they're the oligarchs in this country, the billionaire corporate oligarchs in this country, they're the ones who benefit the most from the corruption and the corrupt status quo and the way that everybody else is getting fucked over in this country. They're the ones who benefit the most from it. So you're giving them the power to, or you're co-signing, you're applauding them, you're cheering them to embrace this power to just remove people off the internet. And do you really think that they're just going to stop at Trump supporters? Again, this is the establishment. These are the oligarchs. Why wouldn't they, if they see that they can do this with absolutely no repercussions, with absolutely no recourse, and nobody can even challenge them on this, then why wouldn't they use this to further their own existing agenda, which is the status quo, and use that power to silence dissent from well-meaning anti-establishment people, anti-corruption people, people who are on the left, the socialists, the social democrats, the communists? Why wouldn't they use that power to squash dissent and to make sure that this political revolution that is coming now, why wouldn't they use the power that they have to squash it and make sure that nobody can spread that type of information on the internet? And that's the thing. Of course, they're going to use that power to do exactly that. And that's exactly what's happening. And over the last few weeks, it is remarkable. It is stunning to see what's going on. And like I warned, it wasn't just going to stop with the Trump supporters. It wasn't just going to stop with QAnon. It wasn't just going to stop with the Stop the Steal people. Now they're just using this against anybody who is speaking out against the establishment. And this has led to a targeted attack on left new media, on independent media and independent journalists in this country. Now their channels and their shows are being removed from certain platforms. They're being demonetized, which means they can't make money from ad revenue, or they can't make money from super chats on YouTube, or they can't make money from premium memberships on YouTube. They decided, YouTube and Facebook, they all got in a room and decided that that the content that people like my show, the people on the left that do content similar to my show, they got in a room and decided that, quote, they're spreading harmful information and they're covering controversial topics. So we're going to demonetize them. We're going to remove their channels and remove their pages. And there is no recourse for that. They decided that we're going to take left new media out at the fucking knees. And now nobody has any recourse. There is no way we can push back against that. So prominent channels much bigger than mine, more than 10 times the size of my channel, have been just completely demonetized, had their one of their main income sources just completely removed and just stopped. This is a grave threat to left new media online. This is a grave threat to the overall movement for a political revolution in this country. Because if you can't get this information out to people, if you can't inform people what's going on, if you can't, these major platforms that can help people organize, if they can't exist, I don't know how a political revolution can happen, because then the only source of information is the mainstream media, and we all know that they're just doing propaganda and propaganda for the establishment to defend the status quo. So when you make it so that it is unsustainable for these people to do their shows, then you're putting them out of business, and you're basically eliminating independent media in this country. Because at the end of the day, this is what they do. This is what we do for a living. This is our job. So if we can't make money doing it, then we can't keep doing it. We can't devote all the time that is and energy that is necessary, because at the end of the day, these are regular people. They have to put food on the table. They have to keep their lights on. They have to keep a roof over their heads. And if they're doing this show, and it takes incredible amount of energy and time and focus and dedication to put together content and to do independent journalism and to do independent reporting and to do independent commentary, it takes everything to do that. So if now you can't make money doing it, then you can't do it. So this is very serious. This is very serious. And I'm going to get into that more, but first, you already know the deal. Especially with everything that's happening now and the way that things are unfolding, it is more important now than ever to help support independent media. And if you can help contribute to the show financially, I have the link to Patreon in the About page of the YouTube channel. Also, if you feel more comfortable doing a one-time contribution, I have a link to PayPal in the About page of the YouTube channel. And not just me. And again, by the way, my channel's been demonetized on YouTube since like August of last year. So even though I have an ad account, even though YouTube owes me money, they owe me a check, I can't even cash that check, and I can't even make any more money from ad revenue because my channel's demonetized. And until I figure that out, I can't make any money from that. So if you can contribute to the show financially, I would greatly appreciate it. And for all the people who have over the last few months, it means the world to me. But not just me. All the people and anybody who you watch, anybody who show you love in left new media, please, if you can, contribute to their show, because they're doing a service. They're doing something that you're not going to get anywhere else. You're not going to get these points of views. You're not going to get them from the mainstream media. You're not going to get them from almost any print outlet. So if you really believe in this movement, if you really believe that we need a political revolution in this country, you have to support independent media, because it cannot happen without people speaking truth to power. It cannot happen without people countering the bullshit propaganda coming from the corporate media. It fundamentally cannot happen. So please, again, support this channel, support other channels that you guys watch. To get into some of the specifics of the channels who were demonetized, channels like the Convo Couch, the whole MCSC network that was founded by Nico House. Nico House's channel has been demonetized. The Convo Couch has been demonetized. Nico House I believe he has like 45,000 subscribers on YouTube. The Convo Couch has like 35,000 subscribers on YouTube. YouTube just pull the rug out from under them. Just stop them from getting money from ad revenue, and they can't even get money from super chats from their own audience members who want to give them money. That's what YouTube did. Also, channels like Jamal Thomas. Jamal Thomas has like 30,000 subscribers. Yanked his monetization. Graham Elwood has like 75,000 subscribers. Tim Black. I disagree with Tim Black on a lot of things, but Tim Black got his Facebook channel demonetized. Tim Black has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And again, with no recourse, they just pull the rug out from under him and take one of his sources of income. And with no real explanation or anything like that. Franco at Frank Analysis, he just got monetized a couple weeks ago, and now his channel's demonetized. and people were giving him super chats and all that stuff. Now that's gone. Status Quo, founded by Jordan Sheridan, his channel has been demonetized, and Jordan Sheridan, I mean, I disagree with him on certain issues, but he has been a great independent journalist for the last 6-7 years. He's been one of the main people on the ground reporting on Flint, Michigan. He also reported on the DNC emails, the leaks by WikiLeaks. He's done a lot of on-the-ground reporting, great on-the-ground independent journalism. He was at Standing Rock. He is an actual established journalist. Just like many of the other people I listed. He has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. They just completely pulled his funding. And on top of that, they removed some of his content from the channel. Some just straight up deleted some of his videos. There's so many other people who have been demonetized, have their pages removed and content censored, and just been an onslaught, an assault on left new media and leftists in general. And by the way, this another something to add, how coordinated all of this is. So they all got the email from YouTube about their demonetization at the same exact time. So again, it's not a coincidence. It's not that they're all posting fucked up content and YouTube saw a video and then it was flagged. No, clearly it was a decision by YouTube to go after these content creators, and they all got the same vague letter of harmful content and talking about controversial issues, which we'll talk about the fucking news. Everything we talk about is fucking controversial. So it is such a coordinated effort. And it is clear that they're going after independent journalists, because why isn't this standard applied to mainstream media, corporate media? They're all on YouTube, and they all report on quote controversial topics or do controversial videos. So why is it that CNN and MSNBC, their channels haven't been demonetized? Why is that? Why is that? Because they're corporate friendly and they're repeating the propaganda of the establishment. And the people who did get censored, those are the anti-establishment voices. Those are the people who buck the status quo and call out the corruption, the corporate capture of our government, the oligarchy. They're the ones who call out the insanity of our for-profit health insurance system that we have. They're the ones who say we need Medicare for all. They're the ones who've been calling for UBI and rent and mortgage cancellation. They're the ones who are actually giving a voice to the people in this country. And because of that, they were targeted, and their business model is being devastated on the whim of billionaire oligarchs and executives in Silicon Valley. That's what's happening in America right now. Anybody who doesn't toe the official narrative of the oligarchy, they are liable to be removed from the internet because of it. I've always been against this arbitrary corporate censorship. I've always been in favor of free speech, no matter what. I don't care if it's racist. I don't care if it's neo-Nazis. I don't care if they're rabid Trump supporters. I don't care if it's QAnon. I don't care what kind of crazy conspiracy theories that they're pushing or whatever it is. I have always defended the right of people to say whatever they want, especially on the internet, but of course, and any other platform, because that is fundamental to democracy. And once you start playing the game of we're going to pick and choose what is allowed to be said, then you are just, it is inevitable that the people in power are going to use it to get rid of and censor anybody who's challenging their power. So just on principle, I have always been against censorship. I've always been in favor of free speech. And since I started my channel, it's only emboldened me in that position. It's only made me double down and triple down in that position. Because I get another perspective of all this. Because now it's not just the principle of it. My whole business model is dependent on, and the business model of all these other people in left new media and all these other independent journalists, their entire business model depends on them being able to say what they think, what they feel, to question the establishment and the status quo. Our whole business model depends on us being able to say those things without fear of being removed from the internet, without fear of saying one thing that somebody doesn't like and that costing us our entire business. Because and I don't really like to talk about it like this. I don't like to make it personal and about me when I talk about censorship in general, but it is personal. Because this is my business. This is what I'm trying to make my livelihood. I put everything I've got into this show, just like everybody else in new media. So it is it feels like there is a sword hanging over our heads at all time. There's this constant fear that at any moment it could all be gone. And that is so irrational. That is so irrational because, like I said, we put everything into this. You know how hard it is to get a YouTube channel from 0 subscribers all the way to 4,000 subscribers. And again, I'm just a small YouTube channel here. Small YouTube channel with 4,000 subscribers. Do you know how much time and energy I put into it? Countless hours I put into trying to find the right stories to talk about, and then doing hours of research and getting all the different angles of the story and putting it together and trying to condense it in a way so that I can present it to you in a way that's very clear to understand and is very straight to the point, and you don't have to worry about any type of corporate spin or any type of establishment narrative or anything like that. That takes a lot of time and effort, and that's not including all the hours of recording video and audio, and then having to do editing, and then to post it, and then grow on other social media platforms like on Twitter and stuff like that. The amount of you put everything into that. That is like just like any fucking business you can think of, any small business you can think of. You put everything into that, and for it to just be for people to just be able to take away your livelihood. And like again, I'm a small YouTube channel, but there are people, like I said, with over 100,000 subscribers, people with 75,000 subscribers, and they pay their mortgage with this. They keep the lights on with this. They put food on their table with this. It's their business. It's their small business. And for anybody, just on a whim, out of the blue, just cause anybody can send you an email and say, oh yeah, one of your main sources of income is just gone. And this is just the demonetization. At any point, they can just completely remove us from these platforms, just like they did to Donald Trump and just like they do with a lot of these like QAnon stuff. They can just remove you from the internet. And unfortunately, some people in new media have had that happen to them. Just completely removed. So now it's not only, oh fuck, now I have to try to figure out how I can raise money to keep the show going and stuff like that, and try to get different sources of income and get money from the audience or however I can make money to try to make up for lost income. Now it's not only that you have to worry about, but there's also the possibility that you're just not even allowed to post on these platforms, and you won't even be able to have. And the thing about that is, once that happens, you don't even have, like, people say, oh, why don't you just start your own website? And I'm someone who is a web designer. So I've been training it. I've studied it for years, built websites and all this stuff. It's not as simple as, oh, you build your website up and boop, there you got your whole audience there. Like, the thing about these platforms and why they should be public utilities and why they should not just be completely at the whim and at the discretion of their billionaire executives is the audience that they have on these platforms. You cannot match that. You cannot find that anywhere else. So if they decide to just remove you from that platform, then the billions of people who could have found your content, now they can't find your content. And if they do that to you on Facebook, they do that to you on YouTube, they do that to you on Twitter, then you're stuck and you have nothing. You have nothing. So you can start your own website, you can build your own website, but if you have no traffic going to your website and you have no way of getting traffic to your website, then it's like you don't even exist and it's like your website doesn't even exist. And it's already such a risk to do this. You already are taking a giant gamble to say, you know what? I think I'm going to do this full time. I think I'm going to make this my main source of income. I believe in what I'm doing so much. I believe that I provide a service to my audience so much that I want to put my all into this. That is already a huge risk because, like, what are the chances that you do become an established and prominent YouTuber? It is very, very rare. Many people who try to do this, but very few are successful. So just to even take the risk to even try to make this your main thing, that's a big enough risk by itself. And you are passing up the opportunity to, like for me personally, try to get like some type of corporate job or go to finish college and get some stable corporate job with a reliable income and stuff like that. You give up all of that and you take the risk that, hey, maybe I believe in what I'm doing so much. I believe that I can do it so well that I hope that an audience sees the value in what I'm doing enough that they will help fund me. And I don't have to worry about getting, trying to keep my lights on or anything like that because I'm getting paid for what I'm doing. That's already a huge risk. And then again, this sword hanging over our heads that at any moment it can all be gone. Like, it is insane. And when I see people arguing for censorship, and they might not be saying, oh, to censor me specifically, but just saying, I don't like that person, get them off the internet because I don't like them. Like, it pisses me off. It really does piss me off because you may just be like, you may only have your perspective and you be like, oh, I don't like that person. I think what they're saying is bad. I think what they're saying is dangerous. So they need to be removed. And I don't care if Facebook and YouTube are the ones to do it. I just want them gone. And I'm going to push vehemently for them to do that. You might think you're doing something good, but like I said, you are building this air of censorship, and it is inevitably going to be turned back on me. So when I see people in my personal life advocating for censorship, it is like, you don't get it. You don't fucking get it. Everything I'm doing, everything I'm trying to do right now can all be gone because people like you are pushing these corporations to censor content. And it's like, I don't know how to get that through to people. This is very dangerous. We're already living in an incredibly right-wing, authoritarian oligarchy, corporate state, corporatocracy, plutocracy. We're already way down that path. And the First Amendment, freedom of speech, has been under assault my entire life. But what is happening now, the door that has been opened, it is making it so that a revolution is damn near impossible. The saying that the revolution will not be televised, that's true. But the revolution will be live streamed. It will be on the internet. It will be on Twitter. It will be on Facebook. But if we allow these corporations to just remove anybody who's anti-establishment, anybody who's challenging the status quo, then I don't know how that revolution happens. So you can disagree with QAnon, you can disagree with the Stop the Steal people, you can be vehemently against them. Guess what? The answer to that isn't to censor them and remove them from the internet. And I really, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around why that's people's very first instinct. That's like their go-to. Let's just remove them. They said something I don't like, let's remove them. And so if you don't like them, guess what you can do? You can debunk them. You can, if you see them spreading misinformation online, make your own page, make your own channel. Talk about how crazy they are. Talk about how stupid they are. Debunk them 8 ways to Sunday. You can do that. That's what you're supposed to do. You counter bad speech with good speech. You counter misinformation with factual information. This idea that the go-to needs to be censorship, it is so wrong-headed, and it is why we're at the place where we're at. So, I don't know what happens from now, but this is not going in a good direction. It is only going to get worse, and the people who should be out front on this, pushing back against this, are either egging this on, like AOC and the squad, the Justice Democrats. They're pushing for more corporate censorship, or you have the people who stand up against this, they're the ones who get their pages taken down. So eventually there will be no voices left pushing back against it. And the internet as we know it will be no more. So all the people calling for censorship, this is the inevitable conclusion.